I might add that I did attend the National Convention in Tampa, Florida when Romney was nominated.
You did attend the National Convention in 2012? What's it like at a convention?
Just had a big experience. It's a lot of hard work. You really can't believe how they pack so much work into it.
Yeah.
And, but a lot of fun too, but I'm happy I went to one, but I really don't feel it too much.
So you didn't go to the 2016 one?
No, I didn't.
So before we get much further, being an elector is not a full-time job. Your job is being presiding commissioner of Berry County. Greene County, in a week, is electing a new presiding commissioner. Can you take a minute to tell us how you became a presiding commissioner, but more importantly, what do they do? What does a presiding commissioner do?
Well, presiding commissioner has a responsibility to take care of the county's finances, responsibility. All contracts are through the county commission. No one can contract except the county commission, no office holder. We've got all the roads that we take care of, which is huge. Today we have 1,062 miles of road in Berry County. Bridges is all ours. We build all the bridges. We built 100 bridges in the last 4 years. And so you got a bridge program, roads, keeping it all off, so we together, work together, just we've been, I think we've been fortunate. We don't make the news much. And
Berry County doesn't?
no, we got 2 newspapers in town on that. Springfield don't cover us by Joplin, and there's got to be something good before television comes to town. But we try to work together anywhere you're at. All office holders work together for the benefit of the county. I'm not fighting and voting against one another. A lot more than we accomplished. I think we've been pretty successful with that.
Cherry, I'm sorry for future answers if you could just be a little louder so
Okay.
we can pick you up. Anyways, so one thing I actually don't know the answer to. How do you become an elector? Was that something you sought or something that was given to you? How did that happen?
The electors are selected at the district convention for each congressional district, and that was in May. And you know, just being candid and frank with you, it's usually I would say a reward, a recognition for someone that's been involved in politics about all their life. And out of respect, I was nominated in Greene County.
Okay. So who nominated you? I'm fascinated by this process.
Well,
I know nothing about it.
the Greene County delegation put me on the ballot, and then I didn't have no opposition. I was elected by acclamation from the 10 counties.
So the Greene County delegation to the Republican National Convention, is that accurate? So
Well,
what's the Greene County delegation?
Well, they're members of the district convention.
Okay.
And of course, they've got many more votes. Our votes are distributed between the counties according to your population. And being true that you're going to go much in the 7th district,
Yeah.
you need Greene County's places.
Can you turn it down?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
But you obviously did not. You said you've been a presiding commissioner for 24 years, been doing this a long time, so
Yes.
you seem like somebody, I guess, that they figured could handle the responsibility.
Well, I don't think anyone understood what would happen this election. And, you know, Bill Hemphill he was elected from Berry County, and years ago, and used it for formality. But you know, when I was elected, I really didn't think probably Donald Trump would be nominated that early in May, and then after he was, it was a very close election. And then after the election was over, and the closer we got to the governor, he sent you a certified letter, tells you the time and place. We met in Jeff City at the Senate Pro Tem's office to cast our right vote the 19th of December.
Yeah, so that's important to remember, is that while the election is early November, the Electoral College, you guys do not actually cast your electoral vote that you were responsible for until December 19th.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so walk us through that. So the governor or whoever sends you a a letter saying,
tell them that you're elector and the time and place, and of course the electors is going to be there. They're going to be there. So that then, you know, with the communications we have today, everybody in America knows who electors were.
yeah,
And so then we started getting phone calls, emails, and letters.
yeah,
And it started, the closer we got, the bigger it got.
Yeah.
And we got 100,000 emails, and 90% of them, bulk of them wanted to vote for Hillary, but some of them, anybody but Trump.
yeah,
And but I will say, 99% of them was respectful and no threats or. But it was quite an experience. My mail carrier, I live on a farm, and we didn't want to rural route, so she got a big plastic bag that she could put my letters in there beside my mailbox. So it'd be 300, 400, 500 every day, coming from a lot of them from New York, California, Illinois. But I got one letter from the 7th district, and that was the following.
huh. So before we get to that, Trump wins Missouri. Does the governor or the state of Missouri tell you, vote for Trump? Or do they just leave it to you completely to figure it out yourself?
Nobody asked me to vote for Trump. But I'd be a story to you. They knew I would vote for him. Nobody asked me. And by the constitutionality, we don't have to vote. We don't have to vote for Trump. We could vote for whoever we wanted to.
That's right.
And you could got an awful lot of publicity if you could switch. The guy down in Texas got an awful lot of publicity, but I didn't I didn't want that. And when you look at your 7th district, Berry County, he carried 73% of the vote. In the 7th district, he was in the 70s. And somebody asked me, he said, well, why did you change your vote? And I said, I probably couldn't go home. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With the respect in the 7th district, that it would be very tough to do. I think somebody had a pretty big ego that went against it. I don't know the guy from Texas, the guy that was faithless, but it's been a pretty high mountain to climb in the 7th district.
So the election comes and goes. Missouri goes Trump. Pretty well. I think he won by like 20 points.
13.
13 points. When did the letters start coming in?
Oh, about 3 weeks before, I'll say, right about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then they kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I got several of them after the 19th of December too. I was going to bring some of my letters, but I've got some of them that were open because I'd go to sleep at night looking at some of these letters. A lot of them were form letters. You can pick them up, but I like the letters that was you tell people had their concerns, and I was kind of interested in their concerns. And you know, I've always thought that there's two views to everything, and I don't burn bridges behind me. And people disagree with me, you have that right. And so the other thing I've always said, I try to keep my cool and my calm. And I will tell you this: you get upset, you get mad, your decision is not good. And same way of being real tired, get a good night's rest. A lot of times it makes morning things look a lot different.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm surprised that the state of Missouri doesn't say vote for Trump. You're telling me all 10 electors vote for Trump out of their goodwill for the American people, for the Missourians, and not because the state has instructed them to. That's accurate?
Yes.
So, what about the joke that we saw with the Hillary Clinton skit? Does Missouri fine you if you go faithless? Because many states fine their electors like $1,000 or something like that.
Definitely not.
No fine.
No.
So you said you were getting 300 to 500 a day, 300 to 500 letters a day.
Yes.
How many did you read? How long before you were just like, yeah, I'm not reading 300 to 500 letters a day?
I read a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then I read a lot of them after the election, you know, cold winter night, and I guess you could say I'm a kind of a political bug. I enjoy politics, and I'd encourage you all to get involved. And I said this when I came into county government, I'd like to make a difference.
Yeah.
And we need good people in political offices. And the people said, well, you know, and the slander we was talking about here today, you got to be thick-skinned, because they're going to talk about, I don't care who you are. And so you just got to brace that off. And if you go, I always said when I went to bed at night, if I could go to sleep, I knew I did the right thing. I don't worry about what people say.
What does the letters that you did read, you said 90% of them were, well, 100% of them were probably don't vote for the guy you're supposed to vote for.
Correct.
Can you give us like a general summary of what the average letter sounds like?
Average letter was that Hillary won the popular vote. That was the theme, that she got the popular vote, so she should be president.
Your views on that?
I like the electoral college because when you look at the map you had up here today, there's a big divide between mid-America. You take California, New York, if you look at all the views and the reason that it distorts things, you know, you might lose Missouri by, you might win Missouri by 10,000 votes, but if you win California by 200,000, that's what gives the distortion. But everybody running for president, you know, but Donald Trump didn't go to California campaign, very little.
Right.
And he knew he wasn't going to win it, but if he knew that it was a popular vote, don't you think he would have went to California campaign?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, if we're talking, you got to get the popular vote rather than the most states and electoral votes, the strategy completely changes. He deserves the presidency 1,000% on that score.
And according to my records, there's been 3 elections. There's been 4 now that's been elected by the electoral college that didn't get the popular vote.
Yeah.
And Bush Cheney won in 2000, and beat Gore and Lieberman and others, Benjamin Rutherford Hayes and John Quincy Adams was elected to the electoral. So I really think the system has worked, but I guess being true, you think, well, you didn't win the popular vote, but I think the founding fathers, I think when they drew the electoral college, they was looking for equal representation for all the states.
I assume, given your history with the Republican Party, that the candidate you supported won. But as an elector, not as a voting citizen, as an elector, were you ever thinking about who do I prefer, or were you only thinking about what Missouri votes for? What percentage? Is it 100, 50, 50? What were you thinking?
Well, you know, my philosophy and Hillary is not very close together. And I thought Bill Clinton was a pretty good president. The thing I gave Bill Clinton a lot of credit for, he could get along with people. He worked with the Republican Party to get a lot of things done. And but my philosophy and Hillary was probably a long ways apart, and it would have been tough.
Can we change history? Let's change history. Hillary somehow crushes Donald Trump or beats him narrowly or whatever in Missouri. How do you feel you would probably have voted as an elector? Do you feel like you would go against your personal vote before the people of Missouri, or what?
Well, you know, really, I haven't, I didn't consider that, but I think that the Democrats have the delegates. I wouldn't be they would have they've got the electoral votes too if their party had won.
Okay, so this is great. Thank you, because I did not know this. So you become an elector when Trump wins. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if he loses, you are not an elector. Instead, the Democratic Party of Missouri, is it, chooses who the electors will be?
They have each congressional district just like Republicans.
Yeah.
They had electors selected.
Okay.
But if you don't win, you don't go to Jeff City and vote.
What would it take for you to be faithless? What would it take for you to have said to the Missourians, I'm voting for pick your Republican of choice, and that non-Trump Republican of choice, or non-Trump anybody.
Well, the way I've lived my life and the way I voted, it would have been very tough for me to have changed my vote because now Donald Trump, lots of things, but you know, you have to give a man credit for a lot of things he's done in this country, and everybody puts him as a divider, and but it's pretty hard to unite this country. And Emory Melton told me a long time ago, he was senator for 24 years, very respected, and he said, Jerry, when you get more people riding in the wagon, you got to pull them. We got problems, and we're close.
So, throwing Trump out of the picture, could you ever see yourself, because there's got to be, you don't love 100% of the Republicans in this country, there's got to be Republicans you don't like. So if that's the case, could you imagine yourself ever being faithless if one of those Republicans you don't like somehow won?
Oh, there's some Republicans that I couldn't vote for. I'm not going to mention it, but there is.
Yeah.
I don't have no confidence in it.
Yeah.
But,
you would have felt comfortable doing that despite Missouri saying we want that Republican that you maybe despise?
I would say I usually pretty well agree with the state of Missouri. And, you know, the state of Missouri it's north Missouri, and the rural areas of southwest Missouri, Kansas City and St. Louis is Democrat stuff. That's where the strength is. And so rural Missouri is what's went Republican, and that's why you're seeing the change in the state of Missouri, because of the rural areas. And I think our values are maybe a little bit different than St. Louis and Kansas City.
Now, constitutionally, electors can vote however they want.
Correct.
Do you think that's the right call? Do you think electors should just rubber stamp what the people want, or do you think electors should have decision making?
Well, I think it's good as an individual, and that you have the right to do what your conscience tells you to do.
Okay. With that in mind, the Electoral College in general, do you think Missouri, as well as 48 other states, should remain winner-take-all, as we've talked about? Or should, Missouri didn't go 100% for Trump. It went, you said 13%. He won by 13, he won comfortably. So therefore, maybe Missouri's electoral vote should be 60-40. Or do you think a winner-take-all is the best way of going at it?
I like it from my standpoint because it's more advantageous to me of what I want.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll be true.
All right, sure, yeah.
You know, you look at the rural areas in southwest Missouri, you know Southwest Missouri is pretty conservative Republican.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a congressman in the 7th district, I've always said you probably should be the suburban areas of Greene County and Christian County, because you see the growth here versus the rest of the 7th district.
Yeah.
It's very hard to elect someone. Gene Taylor from Jasper County was the last one.
Okay.
But it's hard, and so I like the way it goes.
Could you give us any, I'm certain you've spent a lot of time thinking about the Electoral College, any way that you would reform it, or do you think as it works, it's fine?
Well, don't you think it's been pretty successful? It's survived for all these years, and we say this as a popular vote and that comes up, but you stop and think about it with the states, and we talk about what's equal. We've been in South Dakota, but they got one congressman and 2 senators from South Dakota. So is that equal? In Wyoming, they've got the same amount of senators as California. So, but they did that to give equal representation to these states. They didn't even give the 2 senators for each state. And so it's not based on population.
Jason, can you ask that question one more time, please? You asked the question.
Every vote counts.
How?
Well,
If you could choose, you know, to not hear what we say, you know.
well, out of the 538, how many faithless voters, electors did you have?
We had a lot of faithless electors in 2016, but I believe it was 8 or something like that.
Small number.
Right.
And a lot of those people is people that want to boost her ego. If I'd went faithless, I could have all the teachers, I could got